In this tutorial, we're going to take a little bit of a look at the Veracore product categorization options. So as part of our Veracore integration, we allow for the products that you sync from Veracore via the product sync, which was covered in a previous tutorial, to also be assigned to categories so that you can mimic your Veracore product hierarchy structure within Infigo, essentially assigning all of your products that need it into categories and subcategories. As we saw with one part of the customer import, for this part of the integration, we had to use Veracore's datasheet exports to provide the category information. It's also recommended that you run the product sync prior to completing the product categorization steps so that you have your required products within Infigo before you proceed. So the first step here is actually within Veracore itself. So this is to download the offer categorization datasheet from the Veracore system. This can potentially be scheduled from within Veracore to be done automatically. Just ensure that the report contains the same important columns in the same locations as a table that you can see here. So column A must be the offer ID, and then columns P to V must be level 1, level 2, etc., etc. So please also make sure that the level columns are blank if no subcategories are needed to be used. A hierarchy of 7 categories and subcategories can be used as a maximum. There you go, you can see what we need here is column A, which is the offer ID. And then we have the levels of categorization, which is from P to V. Now, the next thing we need to do is to place this file in a pre-agreed directory on our local machine. And then we're going to do some linking with the Infigo system itself using an area that we call upload folders. So if we go into our Infigo admin area, search for upload folders, then open that in a new tab. All we're doing at this stage is creating a folder that we're going to link to from a separate area within Infigo itself. So there's no distinct settings here apart from some initial naming conventions and a few other optional bits of data. So if I just go to add new upload location, I'm just going to add a few names to do with my category sync, and then make sure that's active. And then once that row has been filled out, I can click insert. You'll see if I click on manage that it takes me to an actual folder directory, which as we've just created this is empty at the moment. With that created, I'm going to go back to my configuration settings for the Veracore plugin. So this is what we've seen a few times in previous tutorials. We just go to our Connect plugin screen and go to configure our Veracore settings. The table we're looking for this particular section is right at the bottom. So it's sync product categories via datasheet. And you can see there's 3 available options. The first thing we need to do is to select an upload location name. So this is just going to show us a list of the upload folders that we have available within our Infigo system. So in this case, we've just got a list of 1 as that corresponds to what we just created. So this is the upload location where the sync will look for the CSV files with a name that matches the naming convention that's within or specified within the box underneath. So here we're looking for a specific naming convention. It should be files with the .csv file extension only. And you need to make sure that the search string matches against the names of the file exactly. So this parameter can contain a combination of valid literal path and wildcard characters, so asterisk and question marks, for example, but it doesn't support regular expressions. So for example, we might put something in here, such as one of our wildcards, category.csv. Then we can select our category template from the dropdown. In my case, I'm just going to stick to the default category layout. And then just as a point of reference, you have a CSV file format button, which just gives you a little bit more information as to what the different columns in that CSV sheet can actually contain. For automatic import, you do require Infigo Sync, which is covered in a different tutorial. So this is a Windows application that we provide, which actually is like a live link. So that will look for any changes to specific folders. It will pick up that file and then it will import it into your Infigo platform automatically when it's dropped in the folder that's been specified. You can, of course, decide just to import it manually if you want to control when this happens. We'll cover manual import a little bit later on. So the datasheet will cover an offer ID that will link to a product within Veracore itself. It will also have a series of level columns that will determine the categories and subcategories that need to be created and the product that they need to be assigned to. An offer ID can exist on multiple rows in the datasheet if it should be assigned to multiple categories. The import will iterate through the CSV file, and for each level it finds, it will create a new category. And for each category it creates, we'll automatically assign the correct mapping value to ensure it's mapped to Veracore correctly. The display order of the products is predetermined to the order in which they appear within the CSV file itself. Okay, then for manual syncing, so after you create your upload folder and link the folder within your Connect Veracore integration settings, all you need to do is to simply go to that upload folder again and manually input the CSV file into that folder. So for example, if I go to my upload folders tab, you'll see that I have a manage button next to the folder that I've created, which takes me to a folder structure and gives me the ability to upload an additional file.